Well, let's return now to our top story. That's, of course, Madagascar going to polls on Wednesday to elect a new president. Now, this weekend, the contenders in the election have all been running their last campaigns. And two of the main contenders, Marc Ravalomanana and Rajoelina, held their rallies in the capital city. Here's more on that.
Saturday marked the last weekend of campaigns, and most presidential candidates made the most of it. Two of the country's three main candidates pitched tent in the city, transforming Antananarivo into somewhat of a party ground. Supporters of Rajoelina started trooping into the Colosseum Stadium as early as 9 a.m. They came well equipped with flags bearing their candidate's face and posters splattered with the number 13, Rajoelina's number on the electoral register. And as the crowds waited for their candidate to arrive, a group of musicians kept them well entertained. There were even drones to capture every moment, a sign of just how much the candidates have splashed on this campaign. Rajoelina is one of 35 candidates contesting for the presidency. It is a high-stakes election with an electorate that is hungry for change.
I expect the new president to focus on security, health issues, and all the social needs of the country, but especially security, because the Malagasy are afraid. There is so much insecurity right now, and we cannot do much because of it.
The candidate that is going to win is number 13. We expect you, Mr. President, to radically change Madagascar so that we can become recognized. We also expect you to focus on the poor in order to change the country. And Rajoelina has promised exactly that, change.
I have been to many places and I felt the love of the Malagasy, their expectations of change, their expectations of progress, and the time has come for us to make that change happen.
Susan Mungeli, CGTN.
Well, for more on the Madagascar elections, let's go live now to the capital, Antananarivo. CGTN's Peninah Karibe is standing by. Peninah, 36 candidates on the ballots. That's a big number for voters to choose from. What would you say are the deciding factors for voters in this election?
Well, Lindy, it's a cocktail of issues, really, but I have to say top among them is poverty. Now, Madagascar is one of the poorest countries in the world, and some reports, in fact, say it is the poorest among the countries that have not experienced war. And we have a lot of people here who live under just $2 a day, and for these people, this is the #1 priority, Lindy. They say they need a leader who can change that, who can create jobs for so many people in this country who are jobless. Now, the second issue, of course, has to be corruption, and this is something a lot of people we spoke to today said that so many administrations have not been able to deal with, including the incumbent. And so they're saying they need a candidate who's committed to that war. We also have the issue of food insecurity. We've had numerous droughts in this country, and we have people who are starving. And so they say there's just a lot that needs to be done to move this country forward. And they're looking for that one leader who indeed can change that, Lindy.
And of course, quite interestingly, the three main contenders have all been in power before. Malagasys have given them a chance to improve the country, and they haven't seemed to have done enough. Do people really believe that this time around, any of those top three candidates can bring about the necessary change?
Well, Lindy, that's a very interesting question. I've got to say it's a question that I've been putting to a lot of people that we've spoken to since we arrived here yesterday. And, you know, the funny thing is that these three main candidates, like you mentioned, have actually been president before, and they enjoy such immense support from people here. Take, for instance, Rajoelina. He took power in 2009 through a coup. He was only 34. Now he's 42. He was back again today campaigning and telling people, look, I have learned from my mistakes and I can can do it. He is campaigning on a platform of infrastructure development, and he in fact quoted today the stadium, Colosseum Stadium, which is where they were. It's a huge stadium with a capacity of 50,000 people, and he said the first time he was running for mayor, that was a promise he'd made, that he would make sure they have a huge stadium. And he said, look, today there is this stadium, and this is where we're meeting today. So he said, take this as an example of what I can do. I can change this. He's promising big changes, Lindy. His supporters saying he indeed has learned from those mistakes and they will give him a second chance. But then again, his critics come on and say that under his watch, there was massive corruption and poverty increase. So he really wouldn't change anything that he didn't change when he had the opportunity. Then we have the incumbent, Rajoelina Peninah. And he says that he has made the economy grow. That, in fact, is his huge platform, economic growth. The IMF saying that this year, Madagascar's economy is projected to grow by 5%. And he's saying, given a chance, he can make it grow even more. But then again, his critics are arguing, Lindy, that this is a man who really has not done anything to curb corruption. And then, of course, we have Marc Ravalomanana. He is talking about the country having retrogressed when he was overthrown in 2009 by Rajoelina. And he's saying that he has the experience that is needed and he can move the country forward. So really, it's the old guard coming back again. Their supporters remaining very staunch believers of what they can do. I guess we just have to wait and see after Wednesday's vote what will happen, Lily.
Indeed. Perhaps second time's the charm for one of those candidates. Thanks very much, Peninah Karibe, joining us there from Antananarivo.